Hi there! Thank you so much for joining me today. This is Julie DiMatteo from thepaperpixie.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the US, and in this video tutorial I've got an ornament for you. This is a diagonal folded ornament that opens like so. I love these types of boxes because they've got this folded edge which really gives that diagonal fold a really nice finish. It's a great size. Now this closed measures 1 3/4 by 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. What a cute little treat holder or money holder or tiny gift holder to hang on your Christmas tree this season. And it's really easy to make. So let me go ahead and show you how. We're going to start with a piece of garden green cardstock that measures 5 1/4 inches by 8 1/2 inches. You can get 2 of these out of a sheet of 8 1/2 by 11. And along the 5 1/4 inch side, we're going to score this at 1 3/4 from each side. So again, I rotated at 180, 1 3/4, or you could just do 1 3/4 and 3 1/2 inches. Then I'm going to rotate it to the long side, and for the first score line, I'm actually going to flip the cardstock over. We're going to score then at 3/4 of an inch. It's just the way we're going to fold our cardstock. Then I'm going to flip it back over, and we're going to score at 2 1/2, 4 1/4, 6, and I'm going to flip the cardstock again and score at 7 3/4, just like so. Okay, hold on to your stylus from the Simply Scored or use the stylus from the Take Your Pick tool. And then let me bring the template in here. We're going to do some diagonal score lines. So grab a ruler and your stylus, and we're going to score in these 2 center squares. Kind of ignore the grayed out area here. We're going to score on these 2 squares from corner to corner on the diagonal. So if I show you here on the template, we're going to line up the ruler and score. Again, lower corner to upper corner on the diagonal. We're going to do that on both squares, kind of going in opposite directions, and we'll repeat the same thing in these bottom squares. I've got my cardstock where these 3 center score lines are valley score lines, as opposed to these 2 outside score lines are mountain score lines because of the side that we scored it on. So then I'm going to come in, I'm going to take the ball tip of my stylus and place that where I want to start my diagonal score line, then bring my ruler to it, and then we're going to score on the diagonal here. So you'll see those 2 diagonal score lines. I'm going to repeat the same thing on the other side, like so. Okay. Next, I'm going to fold and burnish on all the straight score lines, so not the diagonal ones. Now remember, we scored these outside score lines on the opposite side of the cardstock. So we're going to fold away. And the best way to describe that is I'm taking the valley fold of that score line, or the valley of the score line, and turning it into a mountain score line, if that makes sense. Or in other words, I fold away from the valley. Okay? That's how I do all my score lines. So if you look at it from the side view here, we've got those 3. They look like mountains, and then these 2 look like valleys. Okay, now the diagonal score lines, we're going to go ahead and just gently fold on those to get them going, and then they're going to tuck inside like so. You can kind of pinch this way, come in and burnish. Same thing over here, folding those backwards. Again, turning the valley into a mountain fold and burnishing. So it kind of looks like this. See that? All right, let me bring the template back in. I'm going to turn it this way. So we've got our paper in portrait. I'm going to grab my paper snips and I'm going to cut up each of the vertical score lines, stopping at the second horizontal score line. And if it's easier for you to see on the back side of the paper, go for it. Like so, kind of freeing up those sections. I'm going to repeat the same thing on the opposite side, cutting up the vertical score lines, stopping at that second horizontal. All right, now it's time to start removing some of the bulk. So I've got my cardstock in landscape mode. I'm going to fold this middle section backwards and out of the way. We can do it on both sides. I'm going to line up then this folded edge on the second vertical line here on my Stampin' Trimmer. That's the 1/2 inch mark. We're just going to remove some of the bulk this way, make sure that these pieces are tucked under. Again, lining that up with the second line there on the track. Removing those pieces, I'm going to repeat the same thing on the opposite side, lining this up at that 1/2 inch mark, which is the second line. All right, so it looks like this. Next, I'm going to come in and just miter cut or angle cut on those little 1/2 inch tabs we just created. Like so. Now the last thing we need to do is remove some bulk here from our diagonal pieces. I'm actually going to pop those out, okay? And then you see the diagonal score line here. I'm going to take my paper snips, and with it folded, we can cut both sides of the paper at the same time. I'm cutting about 3/8 of an inch away from the diagonal, but along the same line there. So then you'll see when we open this up, we've now removed a lot of the bulk from that diagonal fold. I'm going to repeat the same thing over here. Again, kind of pop those out so I can cut this all at once, about 3/8 of an inch away from the diagonal score line. And then you have something that looks like this. I'm going to grab the detailed trio punch. We're going to go ahead and punch and round the corners of these longer pieces. If these pieces get in your way, just kind of fold them out of the way. There we go, we got those nice rounded edges. And then the final thing we need to do is to make little circle punches here. So here's what I do. I fold this piece in half to get those lined up. I'm gonna come in with my ruler, and I'm kind of trying to center the edge of the ruler in the middle of that panel, starting at the 0 inch mark. And then with a pen or pencil, I'm gonna make a mark at 5/8 of an inch and 1 1/8. We're gonna just punch those away, so it's okay if you see those now. I've got a 1/8 inch circle punch. This has been retired, but it's a typical size hole punch. And then I'm gonna come in and punch right where I put those pen marks. And then that ensures that we have both sides lined up properly. So now we really look like the template, okay? This will be on my detailed blog post, which you can find in the description. Next, I have some Poinsettia or Poinsettia Place Designer Series paper. I have 4 pieces that measure 1 5/8 by 1 5/8, and 2 pieces that measure 1 1/2 by 1 1/2. Now the 2 pieces that measure 1 1/2 by 1 1/2, I'm gonna stack those on top of each other, grab my paper snips, and I'm gonna cut on the diagonal from corner to corner to create 4 triangular pieces, okay? Then we're gonna layer these pieces right here on our ornament in this fashion, okay? So those triangle pieces are gonna fit perfectly there, and I'm just gonna use some multi-purpose liquid glue, and I'll speed this up. All right, now that's done. I'm gonna come in with tear and tape, and I'm gonna place tear and tape on each of those little 1/2 inch tabs we created, lining the tear and tape right up to that score line and tearing. I'm just gonna work my way around. Then remove the backing. If you have any of the tear and tape kind of hanging over the edge, just fold it back on itself. And then we're gonna line up this score line with this cut edge and start to form our ornament here. Take your time lining it up before you press it down. And now when you go to close this, watch how that closes. I love that folded edge there and just the finish that it gives this ornament. So cute. All right, next I'm gonna grab some of the real red 3/8 of an inch sheer ribbon. You wanna put your treats in here as well, or whatever you're gonna put in this ornament. I'm gonna feed it through one side and then back around to the other. And I like to make sure that this is open, sort of flat, so I can kind of get an eye for how long I want this to be. Let's bring a little bit more of the tails out here. There we go, like that. So now I'm gonna pull from the back here, and then we're just gonna tie a bow. Now I like to use my reverse tweezers here. That's gonna help me get this bow into place. And then in the interest of time, I've already stamped and die cut the sentiment here. I stamped the sentiment from a Merry Hello in real red onto Whisper White. And then I die cut real red from this awesome stitched scalloped circle from the little treat box dies. And then I also cut the sentiment using the second smallest circle from the Layering Circles dies, and just got this really, really cute sentiment piece here. Just gonna grab a trio of dimensionals, pop that up on the front. I'm gonna grab a medium rhinestone basic jewel, and there we have our diagonal closure ornament. I love the way this looks. Here's the version in soft suede, both with the Poinsettia Place or Poinsettia Place Designer Series paper. I love the sentiment, may your season be filled with magic, and that's exactly what you can fill this ornament with. So I hope you have fun making this project. I can't wait to see what you made. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss my next video. If you're interested in purchasing any of the Stampin' Up! Products I used today, they'll be linked in the description. And I'll also include a link to my detailed blog post with all project measurements, details, and a picture of the template. I'd love to have you come visit me at thepaperpixie.com, where I post projects every weekday to inspire you. And if you don't want to miss a thing, you can subscribe to receive blog updates via email, and you'll receive an email each time I publish a new post. You can shop with me anytime at thepaperpixie.com/shop. And if you're interested in a discount on your Stampin' Up! Purchases, the starter kit is the ultimate bundle, and it's a great way to fill your wish list for less. You can join my team of Paper Pixies and purchase the starter kit at thepaperpixie.com/join. If you don't already have a demonstrator and you'd like catalogs, you can order catalogs through me at thepaperpixie.com/catalogs. And if you give this project a try, I'd love to see what you made, so feel free to share it on social media with the hashtag #PaperPixie, and I'll be sure to check it out. Thanks again for watching. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day. Take care. Bye.